We shall now look at the hagiologies of a group of 3 Nayanmars who, also like others, did extraordinary deeds, செயற்கரிய செயல்கள், but quite different ones, முற்றிலும் மாறுபட்ட செயல்கள். As for the good Lord, what's important for him is certainly not the deed by itself, but the sincere devotion or bhakti behind the deed. So even with these deeds that appear to be different to us mortals, these adiyars have become Nayanmars. Sakkya Nayanar Puranam. Sakkiyar hailed from a farmer's family in Tiruchangamangai near Kanjipuram. He was God-fearing and compassionate. He had developed an inquiring mind. He was looking for a path to get rid of the cycle of birth and death. நீளாது பிறந்திறக்கும் நிலை ஒளிவேன் என நினைப்பார். He went to Kanjipuram for improving his spiritual knowledge further. In the process, he became a Buddhist, started donning the robes of a Buddhist monk, and also came to be known as Sakkiyar, the name used for Buddhists then. After assimilating all about Buddhism, he was convinced that among all paths, it is only Saivism that recognizes all the 4 constituents of a full religion, namely the deed, the doer, the results of the deed, and the one who brings the results on to the doer. செய்வினையும் செய்வானும் அதன் பயனும் சேர்ப்பானும் மெய்வகையால் நான்கும் விதித்த பொருள் எனக்கொண்டே இவ்வியல்பு சைவநெறி அல்லவற்றுக்கு இல்லை. He also came to the conclusion that the ultimate supreme being was only Siva. Having attained this elevated state of mind, he decided that his dress or any external symbols were not important anymore as long as he does not forget the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. So, he did not change his appurtenance at all. எந்நிலையில் நின்றாலும் எக்கோலம் கொண்டாலும் மன்னிய சீர் சங்கரந்தாள் மறவாமை பொருள். He made it a point to have his meal for the day only after paying his obeisance to a Shivalingam, which is the symbol of Shiva representing what is seen and not seen. காணாத அறிவினுக்கும் உருவினுக்கும் காரணமாய் நீள் நாகம் அணிந்தார்க்கு நிகழ்குறியாம் சிவலிங்கம். When he saw a Sivalingam for the first time after his enlightenment, he became so ecstatic that he instinctively picked up a stone as if it was a flower and threw it on the linga. The next day, when he saw the linga, the thought of what he did the previous day flashed in his mind. He took it. That was the impulse given to him by Shiva himself. So he repeated the act. This went on for some time, and Shiva too delightfully accepted it as a playful act of a child. இகழ்வனவே செய்தாலும் இளம் புதல்வர்க்கு இன்பமே நிகழும் அதுபோல் அதற்கு நீள் சடையோர் தாம் மகிழ்வார். Hadn't Shiva accepted with delight the slap on his head with a slipper by Kannappar? Yes, what's important for him was that these were all acts done with pure and abiding love. அல்லாதார் கல் என்பர் அரணார்க்கு அஃது அலர் ஆம். However, on one particular day, he sat down for his meal. Then he realized that he had forgotten his daily worship of Linga. He rushed with a stone in his hand, only to see there his beloved Lord Shiva with his consort, and to be drawn by him into his supreme abode. MUNAIYIDUVAR Nayanar Puranam. MUNAIYIDUVAR was the chief of a farmer's family in Thiruneedur in Cholanadu. He was a mercenary soldier who would wage wars on behalf of kings or chieftains who had lost their battles earlier. He was getting amply paid by them for his services. But being an ardent devotee of Shiva, he was willingly spending all such payments only for feeding Sivanadiyars. நல்லார் முனையறிந்த வளம் கொடு இறைவன் அடியார்க்கு மாறாது அளிக்கும் வாய்மையர். Secular lists out the menu for such meals given to adiyars. It consisted of rice, sugar, good ghee, vegetables, curd, milk, and fruits. All of them mixed with his own love and affection. தூய போனகமும் கண்ணல் நறுநெய் கறி தயிர் பால் கனி உள்ளுறுத்த கலந்து அளித்து மன்னும் அன்பின் நெறிபிரளா வழித்தொண்டு. This noble service, although with money got from not so desirable means, Munaiyiduvar continued till he was called over to heaven. Apparently, wrongful method of getting money was still acceptable to Shiva, perhaps because it was totally free from any selfish motive. Moorgga Nayanar Puranam. Moorggar hailed from a farmer's family in Thiruverkadu village in Tondenadu. In keeping with the hereditary tradition of his family, from the time he acquired some worldly knowledge, he was convinced that adherence to the path of sacred ash is the real wealth that one could possess. அறிவு கொண்ட நாள் தொடங்கி ஆதி முதல்வர் திருநீற்றின் அடைவே பொருள். He made it a mission of his life to feed the devotees of the Lord every day at any cost and to eat only after they had eaten. அரணார் காதல் அடியார்க்கு அமுதாக்கி அமுது செய்ய கண்டு உண்ணும் நீதி முறைமை வடுவாத நியதி. He not only served sumptuous meals but also gave adiyars whatever gifts they wanted while leaving. With his gracious hospitality, the number of adiyars kept increasing day after day. In the process of this service, all his assets got sold and the money spent on such feeding. Driven against the wall, he thought of gambling that he had learnt to such perfection in his childhood. As there was no one forthcoming at Thiruverkadu, he moved on to Tirukudandai or Kumbakonam. He was playing in the gambling dens at Tirukudandai. He had a strategy. He would lose in the first couple of rounds and win all the rounds thereafter. முற்சூது தான் தோற்று முதற்பணயம் அவர் கொள்ள பிற்சூது பலமுறையும் வென்று பெரும் பொருள் ஆக்கினார். Anyone who didn't keep his oral commitment was stabbed by him, and that's how he got the name Moorggar or a rowdy fellow. நற்சூதர் மூர்க்கர் எனும் பெயர் பெற்றார் நானிலத்தில். Every cent that he made in gambling was spent only to feed the adiyars, and he would himself eat only after every single adiyar had had his meal. This unique service continued till Moorggar reached the lotus feet of his Lord.